Nobody really warns you about culture shock, not in a way that truly prepares you. It's one of those things you have to experience to understand. I'm half Moroccan, half Filipina. Grew up in Indonesia, spent a decade in Malaysia, so moving around is second nature to me. I love slow traveling, settling into new places, and figuring out what's the sweet spot between adventure and routine. Here's the reality: no matter how well traveled you are, some things will still throw you off. But in this video, I want to focus on my Filipino side, how my background shaped my expectations, and the ways Argentina completely flipped them on their heads. Listen, Filipinos eat rice like it's oxygen. We eat rice for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We even eat rice with noodles because carbs on carbs just make sense. So imagine my horror when I got to Argentina and realized rice is not a big deal here. Sure, you can find it, but it's not like back home where you can buy a sack of 10 kilograms of rice from any shop. Supermarkets usually stock small 1 kg bags, and forget about jasmine rice or sticky rice. Argentinians mostly eat long grain varieties. Also, restaurants don't serve rice as a default side dish. Instead, you'll get bread, potatoes, or pasta. And don't even ask for fried rice. It's just not a thing here. So, what's the lesson here? Stock up when you can, or prepare for a life full of bread and pasta. Okay, let's talk about bathrooms, shall we? Argentina has bidets. Cool, right? But here's the catch. It's a whole separate picture next to the toilet. If you've been to Europe, you get what I mean. That means after you do your business, you gotta do a little awkward waddle over to the bidet station. At first, I was like, why make this a two-step process when this can be a two-in-one? But after a while, you just accept that Argentina has its own way of doing things. Would I prefer a bidet attachment on the toilet itself? Yes. Am I now really attached to the bidet experience? Also, yes. If you didn't know, Asia is the street food capital of the world. No matter where you are, Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam, the Philippines, there's always someone selling food on the street for breakfast, lunch, merienda, dinner, and even midnight snack. It's cheap, fast, delicious, and everywhere. No need for a festival, just a regular Tuesday would do. But the street food culture here isn't the same. You won't find little food stalls lining the roads. And when you do see street food, it's usually choripan, sandwich de lomito, or empanadas. Not that they're bad, actually they're really good, but I do miss having endless options. Even food trucks aren't super common outside of big events. Argentine food culture is more about sit-down meals with friends and family, and while that's great, I do miss the chaotic energy of a busy street food scene. This one didn't surprise me too much, but it's worth mentioning. English isn't widely spoken in Argentina. In the Philippines, Filipinos grow up with English from a young age. So it's second nature. It's used in schools, in businesses, even in everyday conversation. In Argentina, unless someone learned English as a hobby or for work, it's rare to find fluent speakers. If you do find someone who speaks English well, chances are they took extra lessons, had a great interest in it, or lived abroad. Even in major cities like Buenos Aires, you might struggle to communicate in English at banks, government offices, or even restaurants. The further you go into smaller towns, the harder it gets. So here's the real deal: Google Translate is your best friend. And if you're planning to stay long term, learn some basic Spanish. Trust me, even knowing simple phrases will make your life so much easier. Oh, and one fun thing: you'll notice that sellers here are really sweet talkers. When you're shopping, don't be surprised if they call you Rey, as in king, or Reina, as in queen. It's just their way of being friendly and making you feel welcome. Filipinos are pretty chill, but Argentinians take it to another level. There's just no rush for anything, and when you go out with friends, expect to sit and chat and sip mate or other drinks for hours. Running errands? Good luck finishing everything in one day because either things close early or the lines are long. And customer service? Oh boy. If you're used to fast, efficient service, Argentina will humble you. Things will move slowly, businesses take their time responding, and buying stuff online, hmm, That's a process on its own. We'll get to that in a second. Even social plans are fluid. People say they'll meet at 7 p.m., but that often means 8 or 9 or 10. It's all part of the laid back culture, so the key here is to adjust your expectations and go with the flow. The Philippines has its fair share of price hikes, but Argentina, inflation here is on a whole different level. Prices change monthly or even weekly. You could check out an apartment for rent today, let's say, and then come back next week, and the price has completely changed. Same place, same landlord, no renovations or upgrades, just inflation doing its thing. Even in stores, prices aren't always set in stone. Paying cash, you might get a discount. Use a debit card, that will cost you more. Paying in cash means the seller can avoid declaring the sale of taxes, so they're more willing to give you a discount. It's one of those unspoken rules in Argentina. If you've got cash, you've got leverage. Meanwhile, credit and debit card payments go through official channels, which means taxes and fees. So businesses usually charge more to make up for it. It's a bit of a hassle at first, but once you get the hang of it, you start to play the game too. Tech in Argentina is way more expensive than you might expect. Phones, laptops, cameras, any gadgets, they all cost nearly double or triple what you'd pay in places like in the US or Europe. Crazy, right? So what's going on? The main reason is import taxes. Argentina slaps huge tariffs on imported goods, which means tech prices skyrocket. The local market isn't any better either. Your options are pretty limited, and most of the time, you're paying top dollar for what you can find. Add in the ever changing exchange rates, and you're looking at even more expensive gadgets. Unless the government steps in with some major changes, we have no idea how things will look like in 3 to 5 years. Will prices drop? Will it get even worse? It's hard to say. But for now, if you're planning to upgrade your gear, be ready to pay a premium, or better yet, get your gadgets outside of Argentina. One of the biggest shocks for me was how different online shopping experiences is here. In Asia, it's just how things work. You want something, you order it, and it shows up in a day or two, sometimes even on the same day, with free or cheap shipping fee. There are multiple platforms packed with everything you could possibly need. But in Argentina, online shopping isn't as big, and shipping takes forever. And if it's an international order, you have to cross your fingers that it even arrives. And when it does, you have to pay taxes on some items. I remember needing something, and instinctively I grabbed my phone to order it, and then I realized, oh right, that's not how really things work here. And when I do find something online, it either takes a week to show up or cost way more than I expected. And bear in mind, I live in Mendoza, Argentina. Same goes for services. Back home, if I want a haircut, a massage, maybe to get my nails done, or have a general checkup with a doctor, I can just walk in. In Argentina, you need an appointment for almost everything. Okay, not exactly midnight, but pretty close. In the Philippines, we usually eat dinner around 7 p.m. In Argentina, restaurants don't even open for dinner until 8 or 9 p.m. So eating at 10 p.m. is totally normal here. At first, my stomach was completely confused. Now I just go with the flow, but I always make sure to have a snack in the afternoon to tide me over until dinner. Pro tip, if you're new here and your friend invites you for dinner, make sure to have a merienda, an afternoon snack, like an Argentinian, so you don't starve while waiting for dinner at 11 or 12. I still stick to an early dinner though, and if I get hungry later at night, I'll just grab a light supper to keep me going. Culture shocks are part of moving to a new country, and honestly, I love experiencing them. They remind me of how different yet connected we all are. Some things still make me laugh, and some things make me adapt, like inflation. If you're planning to visit or move to Argentina, just know that it's a whole different world. But that's what makes it exciting.